everyone. I am Coach Leah Dunlap, the Oracle on Purpose, and this is Oracle Live TV. We're back. Did you miss us last week? Can you believe that I have my phone on? Did you hear that? Okay. Bad form. There we go. So I am really excited tonight. As I looked at our lovely guest, what I realized as I looked up, I have the most awesome women about to come on the stage, as it were, with me. And what I really love about this platform that we've created is that there are so many people that get to see these amazing individuals and what they're doing. But also, I love the fact that, you can be anywhere in the world, East Coast, West Coast, Canada, and tap in and hear about what they're doing. And also for me, get to share what the messages from the Oracle are for people around the world. So that's what I want to tell you a little bit about and why Oracle Live TV was born. Like I said, I am Leah Dunlap, the Oracle on Purpose. I am an intuitive business architect, and I am an Oracle. My gift of the Oracle was developed early on. I was 14 years old when I recognized that I had the ability to hear, see, and feel things and know things about other people around me in my life. And with that information, I was able to help them, in making decisions about their lives and about their careers and about their marriages. And it continued from that point forward, where people would just always ask me questions because I knew I magically had the answers. And, I started my journey in the transformational leadership field as a certified clinical hypnotherapist, and originally was going to be a psychologist until the Oracle herself said, yeah, this is not for you, and you need to find another way. And that's when I found hypnotherapy. And what I really loved about hypnotherapy was that it gave me permission to tap into something bigger and to share a really powerful message about self-healing and self-support and listening and recognizing our own intuition and our own guidance. And that's what I did and have done now for the last 25 years. Again, that's why this format has come to be. I knew, and I got another message from the Oracle when I was recently in Paris, that I needed to reach thousands of people, not just a few people here and there one-on-one, but really to have a broader scope, because the Oracle had so many more messages to give and to share with people. I needed to find a format that I could do that. And so I decided to go ahead and do that internet-based. So that's why Oracle Live TV will always be accessible, because I want you guys to be able to jump on with that and with the idea of it being accessible. One of the things we've started doing, which is really fun, and I've seen a lot of people really enjoy, is the ability to actually engage as if you're right here with us in the live studio audience. So what we've done is we've started a little contest that we run during the show. And that contest is really easy to enter. Everybody can enter, okay? So the contest is a little game that we play that if you are listening to me speaking to one of the people on the panel, or you hear something they say and it's like, oh, that's really interesting, or it's insightful, or, it strikes something in you and you want to shout it out, you can hit hashtag insight, and then whatever that is, whatever they've said, whatever it's spoken to you with, and we will go ahead and we'll pick somebody at the end of the call by random who will win a prize. And so the prize that they will win tonight, where'd it go? Oh, here it is. Okay. So I also let everybody know from the beginning that I really like to use journals. So the prize tonight is kind of a twofer. Okay, so I should have opened this already, I'm realizing, but here we go. Sorry for all the noise, crinkle, crinkle. Like, my sound guy would be mad that I'm using all that plastic around the mic. Okay, so this is a really cool, I think it's cool. This is a journal. I don't know if you can see it. You see it? Oh, there you go. There's this really cool embossed tree. I really love oak trees. And it's a nice journal, but the cool thing about the journal is it's not only lined, but in the back, there is a pocket. So I don't know if you're like me, but I take my journal everywhere. And this is great because you can put like receipts in there. You can put like little notes, whatever. Love notes to yourself. Always, why not? That will be one of the prizes. That's part A. And then part B, of course, like how do you write in that journal? So I have this really cool pen set. And probably not see as good. There we go. And these are really cool because so say hello, hashtag insight. Hey, Maureen, welcome to the show. So hashtag insight, you know how to do that. And then when you hear an insight, you put that with it, right? So it's hashtag insight. Amy Cheryl is gorgeous. Okay, that's great. That works. Okay, so anything at all. And we'll go ahead and we'll calculate those. We're not going to calculate them. We're just going to pick somebody at random at the end of the show. So you can do it anytime, all the way through the show. And the other thing I want to let you know, if you're coming on now, excuse me, by the way, is that, oh, yay, I just realized our titles are working, so I can actually see who's talking. Yay. If you're watching this on a watch party and you're in Facebook, thank you. Thank you for watching. Here's what I want you to know. If you want to win that super cool prize I just showed you, or you want to ask a question yourself, you actually have to be in the room. And so what we've done is we've actually given you guys a link in Oracle Live TV. So on Facebook, there's a link to the show to go inside the show. So you have to click on that link to get inside. So if you're in a watch party and it says I'm in a watch party, go to Oracle Live TV on Facebook and then click on the link for the actual show. Okay. Oracle Live TV, Facebook will take you to inside the show, like where Maureen is. So hello, say hello. And remember to hashtag insight with whatever insights you have. The other thing I want to let you know is when you come in, if you have a question for the Oracle, guess what? You can ask it. Ask it simply by putting Q&A. So at the end of the show, we'll say, hey, we're getting ready for a live Q&A. Again, just put Q&A in your question, and we will go through those as quickly as we can at the end of the show with whatever time we have allowed. Now, sometimes we get to one or two or more. It really just depends on our amazing guests and how amazing and wonderful these conversations are going to be, which is always kind of fun. With that in mind, I'm getting excited because you might have heard me just mention her. My first guest is Amy Cheryl. She is a fellow intuitive channel, and we kind of really just gelled over that energy and the vibration. And she's a champion of women, and I really am so proud to know her. I'm so excited that she said yes to come on to the show. And I'm going to go ahead and introduce her for bring her on and have her tell us a little bit about herself and what she is up to. So hold on just a second. Let me bring her on in. And again, if you're watching this and you have a question, make sure you post it. And there she is.
Hi.
The beautiful Amy Cheryl herself. Welcome. You found us.
I did.
So that's live TV, man. That's how it happens. So thank you for being here. Thanks for following our breadcrumbs to get here. And
yeah, it's wonderful to be here.
Oh, it's so nice to have you. So tell us a little bit about, who you are and what you're up to right now.
Yes. In regards to my business?
Yeah, absolutely.
So hi, everybody. Great to be here. Great to be here, fellow goddesses. And Leah, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me. So yes, what's going on? My company is Women's Worth Academy. Become the feminine powerhouse you were born to be. And basically, I stand for women eradicating self-doubt, eradicating dismissing themselves and deprecating themselves and feeding into the patriarchal programming that has told us lies and kept us from our true nature and magical powers as women. And I'm not faulting men in any way. This is not a man thing. We're in this rise of this feminine. We're in this place where basically I stand for, we as women, we're the ones that need to do the deep healing work because we're the ones that hold the space for magic and healing. And when we do that, we shed light on the planet, we shed joy, and we literally become the space for the men to step up into their kinghood, and we are in our queenhood, and everybody, it's really about healing humanity. And so I stand for that. And currently, up until this point, it's all around teaching women the understandings of the true nature of feminine power and how to walk our way as women, because we have not been raised or taught that way.
I love it. And I love that your journey to this has been so multi-layered. Tell us a little bit about how you started off on this journey.
Oh my God. Brief overview, very brief overview. Um, raised in a what seemed to be a very, good household. My father is an eye doctor, retired eye doctor. Basically overview, and everything's healed now. This is what happens, ladies, when we heal. Miracles happen. My whole family is healed. I'm healed with my dad now. Yeah, it's like miraculous. It really is. But the point is that I grew up, he was a rageaholic. I grew up in a very terrorizing upbringing. And I became over 200 pounds as an emotional eater. And I literally was in self-loathing. And the first turning point was when I was 14. And I looked in the mirror naked and I said, and here we feed into like the body image, right? I hate my fucking body, mind my language, but I'm a New Yorker at heart. And if I don't do something about this, how'd I get this way? I was either take my life or take off the weight. Like I literally got to that point, and it was so upsetting to me to actually get to such a rock bottom that it became the turning point where I clearly chose the latter and shed the weight. And I started practicing like the laws of attraction without even knowing I was doing it. This is the 80s. And sure enough, I lost my weight, but I didn't shed the low self-esteem and the low self-worth. And fast forward to when I was 28, I met my spiritual mentor, a medicine woman who's walked the Cree tradition of Native American. And that was the beginning. I didn't even know what a chakra was. I was in total repression and denial of my own intuitive gifts because they were, dismissed as a child and no one understood them. And I look back now and I spoke to ghosts and all these things. And so when I'm now, in my late 40s, and when I was in my late 20s, that's when I began my spiritual journey. And it's just been deep inner work and deep transformation and total career change and total identity crisis / awakening and to the path of liberation. And I really, desire this for every woman and man. It's possible for us all and to break free from this internal prison. And I've gone through it all. I have gone through it all. And I literally am saying that I can say that I'm a walking testimonial of when we do the work, what's possible to be at peace in our mind and loving in our hearts and joy in our soul and to be that for others. And there are no words for that. There are no words for that. It's pure freedom.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. And I really love that you also mentioned it, the idea of kind of this is not about bashing men or making them wrong or that the point of coming from that self-empowered place for women is really where you come from. So tell me, what, because that's what we're all here for. And I know people are now on the edge of their seat going, oh, what is this question going to be? So let me ask you, Miss Amy Cheryl, what is the question for the Oracle tonight? How can we serve you?
Oh, right. There were two things that came in. Like I dropped in before the call because I was in the energies of it. And there were two things that came in. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll go with this because, we're asking a business question, right? Sure. And the twofold piece is I'm heading out to Colorado. I'm going to be house sitting for my sister, and I'm doing a little bit of a speaking tour, and I'll be doing a women's circle retreat at my sister's house. And the energies that came in was like, what's here around this Colorado retreat? And I'm really feeling a percolation of opportunities and next steps in business. And typically I know it's always revealed to me, yet since we're on this call, what I got was aim receptivity energy and receive some guidance, like
I love it.
And let go. I don't always need to guide myself. So
oh my goodness. That is yes. I hear you, sister. Yes. and so it's interesting because the first thing you said in regards to the Colorado piece, so did you say you have an actual retreat happening or you're participating in it?
I have an actual, so I live in LA and I'm heading out to Colorado. And with that, my sister opened up her home for me to facilitate a sacred women's circle. So I'll be facilitating that.
Facilitating. Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay. So the thing that I'm seeing about this circle that is kind of just showing up in relationship to this space. This is interesting. So, I mean, I get the sense you probably do this already. So this may not be surprising to you. So maybe more of an affirmation than anything. But I'm seeing do you belly dance?
That's very interesting you say that.
Okay.
Definitely professional. It's not like it's definitely in my DNA. And I have, when I've led my priestess retreat, I actually had a guest belly dancer. And this is the second intuitive that has mentioned belly dancing for me in the past month.
Okay. So I always like it when there's instant validation. But yeah, like I'm really seeing like she's just pointing to this beautiful scene of like these women just belly dancing, or and I'm getting what I call the full flesh on that. So I'm definitely on there, and I think that there's it feels like either like a closing ceremony piece, like where you were like, is it 3 days?
2 days.
2 days. Okay.
It's a mini one.
So it's at night. So if it's 2 days, it may be that it's something that's going to draw all the people energetically. Their spheres of energy are going to be melded together in that space. So wherever you feel that makes sense, but it is at night, what I'm seeing. So if that's the first night as a way to kind of bring everybody, I just really feel like this sexual, yummy, juicy, embracing feminine energy kind of being not mold is probably not the right word, but melded together.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So, yeah. So that's what she's showing me in regards to the retreat itself. And now that I've got all the way through that, what was the second part of the question?
And thank you. I love that. And I'm already seeing it. And I've done witness dance, and it's lighting me up. I'm like, and there's been a lot of sexual energy that's come up today. Right. So this is really the point. Yeah. It's like, right. Yeah. Feels good. It's lighting me up. Next steps in business.
Oh, in general. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So as some of you who've been watching the show know, the Oracle's kind of sassy. So she says you shouldn't ask questions you already know the answer to.
I thought, yeah.
Oh, it's funny. I'm like, well, that just seems rude. I think what the point is there, that you already have something in front of you, and it's not about next steps in business. It's saying yes to something you're already you've already kind of leaned toward, and you're like, I don't know. It's like she's saying you already know that that's the thing, and if you're looking for validation, I guess this is your validation that yes, go ahead and go all in on whatever that is, if that makes sense. How does that land for you?
Yeah, I do have clarity. And it's true. I do have things that are in place already, and my heart is deeply desiring to be speaking more again, because I took a little of a break for some reasons, personal reasons, and I'm also very drawn to getting back to my roots of getting back into yoga studios and bringing back women's circles on a grander scale, not just my retreats, because I know how necessary it is, and that's my home, that's my sweet spot, So yeah, that's really what's been coming to me like since January, and that feeling has not gone away.
Yeah. So I think that's what she means. You know the answer. And I think that answer, which makes sense as you're just talking, as you're leading, what she's showing me is, you don't have to, there's a place where you can create the space for something without having to be consumed by it. Mm-hmm. So that may be helpful in your choosing to move forward with that. And, speaking of circles and what you have going on, I know that we posted in the Facebook page and also on the Oracle Live TV page that we are actually going to be talking again next week about your event. So tell me a little bit more about the event itself and how that's going to unfold and how we can hold that vision for you.
We are, and just so I understand, are you talking about our event together?
Our event, yeah, our conversation, but actually your actual women's group that you're starting, the group that you're starting.
Thank you. So share a little bit about it.
Yeah, just for a moment. I mean, it seems like it's
Yeah.
right there, and it speaks to a little bit of what we're talking about. So yeah, share.
Absolutely. Thank you for asking. So basically, I got very deep guidance. I've been facilitating women's circles for years, and I typically, I have my yearly 6-day immersion, Queen Initiation immersion, and that my next one's coming up next year. Yet I've been feeling since like last October, something needs to come through again. Something needs to come through again, and then this happened. So basically, on June 8th and June 9th. I'm going to be facilitating a sacred ceremony women's circle. And sacred ceremony just basically means that we are coming together, unplugged, raw, real in women's community.
Mm-hmm.
And it's deep healing work. My background is of the sacred feminine and of Native American traditions. So we do bring in a lot of the healing of medicine wheel and ancestral healing, and there's nothing like it. Yeah, it's really.
This is a virtual or live event?
It's in person. It's in Denver, Colorado.
Cool. Wow.
Yeah, and I mean, if anybody is interested and wants to chat with me about it, I'm running some early bird specials because it's coming up quick. And this is an offering that I've never done before. I'm offering this is like uber discounted. I've never offered anything this inexpensive before. Yet the opportunity arose. My costs are low. I don't need to rent a home, so I'm passing that along. And it really is just it's just my heart's calling. So yeah, I would say anyone that wants to speak to me about attending the retreat, it's a great opportunity because typically I do much bigger, more elaborate, longer retreat programs. I typically don't do short intensives that are more affordable. More cost effective and shorter.
Yeah. So I've got a link. I'm going to put it up. I'm going to get rid of our names just for a moment so it's not so confusing. All right, there we go. So it's up right now. And so if you want to go and find out more, there's a link up here, which you can go and learn more about what's happening with that. And we will also put that in the chat log. So you'll have that as well. I just want to have it up for a moment while you were talking about it so people could write that down if they want to.
And that's for the call next. Our call next.
And that will take them to the call where we're going all into that and go even deeper. But I wanted to let them know that they can find that, put a bookmark in it, and hear more about it. So thank you so much. Yes. Great questions. Yeah. And I'm wondering, on this intensive, will there be belly dancing, perhaps?
Well, clearly there'll be some shaking of the hips.
I love it. All right. Well, thank you again so very much for being here. I appreciate you, and I just the vision of you and your beautiful ladies all swaying and just really vibing up in that juiciness sounds just lovely. So I appreciate you. I'm excited to see how you incorporate that extra wisdom of staying with what you know. And somebody said they lost me. I'm back. Okay. So just a full disclosure, everyone. Some people, my beloved assistant Jen is actually out today, and that's okay. That was divine intervention. She's out there having some fun. And so I am my own assistant. But apparently I missed a comment. So, okay. So if you mention a comment, we'll talk more about that in a moment. Thank you again. We're getting ready to bring on our next guest. Appreciate you.
I'll see you on our interview call next Wednesday. I hope to see you.
Yes.
Bye.
All right, everybody. So thank you again to Amy Sherrill. Just a reminder, I see some people coming on. So say hello. Make sure, if you haven't already, if you've got some interesting insights from Amy Sherrill or anything else, you can share that here. She can actually see your comments later. So if you guys have a question, feel free to do that. I do see an insight, so I'm going to pop that one up here so I can talk about insights. So as I mentioned before, hashtag insight is the way to enter the drawing for the beautiful journal and 10 set. And I do this every time. I have to wear glasses when I read these. They're so tiny. Okay, there we go. All right. Hashtag insight. Women's circles can create a beautiful space for healing. Absolutely. I think any kind of circle, when we gather together and really hold space for each other to be open and supported, can be so healing. So that's why I know that Amy has graciously popped in to share. She's off to doing like other amazing things, I know right now. But like I said, she will be able to see your comments. If you have any questions or you're watching the replay, I will make sure to pass those along, and we'll get you the the link to watch more about that. Okay. So hashtag insight. You're like, what is hashtag insight? Why won't you go away? Let's try this. Ready? Somehow, see, technical difficulties. Let's try this. So the other thing I wanted to remind everybody is if you have a question, you're somebody who's watching this show right now, just put your question in. I'm going to type this, which I had before, but here we go. Let's see. There we go. So if you want to ask a question of the Oracle yourself, at the end of the call, we'll probably have a few minutes left, and we'll go ahead and pull those questions. And if not, we'll go ahead and just go over the insights we have and wrap up the call. But I want to let you guys know if you're coming on, I see some new viewers. So do that. Do that. Q&A, that lets me know as I'm scanning through that you have a question so I can find it and pop it up. All right. The other thing I want to share with everybody is that I also do retreats, and there's a retreat coming up soon. I'm excited about this retreat, and I definitely want to make sure I don't forget to share it. And that is the Italy retreat. And if you recently were on my 5-day challenge, you heard some of my clients who were actually doing testimonials talk about how excited they are about the Italy retreat. And this is what it is. It's the Master Creators Alchemy Retreat. We're going to be spending 8 nights and 7 days in Florence, Italy, in this amazing castle, basically, with these incredible grounds. There's this old castle wall and beautiful gardens and a tiny little train that will take us into Florence. So I'm really excited about the experience that we're going to be creating. But what we're doing there is really going deep into everyone's goals and programs and what they are envisioning for their businesses. So it's a time for us to do deep dive work. It's also a time for us to enjoy each other's company and relax and rejuvenate and allow space for new ideas and new concepts to emerge, all with the guidance of the Oracle for those days. So we have a big excursion planned. There's no zip lining. So if Leanne, you're watching, no zip lining in this one. She had to do that in Costa Rica, and she talks about that when she talks about her testimonial for the experience. But I want you to know if you're interested, we do still have some spaces available. And you can go to this link here, bit.ly/MCAR_Italy. So the MCAR_Italy stands for Master Creators Alchemy Retreat. And like I said, that's going to be happening in August. So we already have the registration open. If you have any questions about that, you can let me know. And again, if you're watching this and you're ready to hear more from everybody, #insight. If you get some more juicy tidbits from our next guest, I'm excited to bring her on now. Our next guest is Tiffany Thone. She is a nurse and an intuitive eating coach. And I got to tell you, I feel like there's always this great thing that happens where we have the perfect synergy.
Hey there, I think that I am now live as a guest, but unfortunately, Leah, I can't see or hear you. So
okay,
maybe the next guest can go first and I can try hopping out and coming back in.
That's a good idea. So let me put her down. So yes, so I'm going to have our next guest come in, but before I do that, I'm actually going to let her know. So yeah, so hop out and come in. Sorry. Oops. Okay, there we go. We do our best to try to catch this stuff before we get on, but sometimes, the internet is not always our friend that way. All right, our next guest I'm really excited to bring on is an amazing healer, and her name is Sarah Thorpe. A good gal. What I love about Sarah is, I'm going to say this because I think it should be said and screamed from the rooftops. Sarah Thorpe is a badass healer. Okay. And what I love about you, I know, right? I said that on TV. I keep guessing. I know. I keep bringing people on, and then I think it's you guys. I'm blaming it on you because I don't usually do that, but no. But it's funny. I was looking at your, I think it was your website. And I love what it said. And I'm like, okay, But Sarah's actually like, I think if people really got to know you, they would know that you are pretty amazing. You've got this real power and strength, and in all of the softness that you are, there's this just amazing strength. So tell us about who you are, what you're up to, and yeah, share with the audience what makes Sarah Thorpe so amazing.
Well, thanks, Leah. I'll
Sure.
take that. I for this year, it's all about receiving. This is the big message that's coming through for me and my clients, that we don't know how to receive. There's a big glitch. So thank you for the introduction and for reading my website. That's cool. I'm an intuitive healer too, and I call myself a spiritual midwife, or a midwife of spirit. And so I do a lot of what you're doing with the Oracle is similar to how I get information for my clients, and that's just part of what I do. But I really love working with women to help them clear the mud in their mind and to get clarity. And that's a pretty easy way to bring people back into their connection with themselves and with the universe and the God of their heart. But I do a lot of really fun and cool things, but it doesn't always end up on my website. So maybe I'm like sciencing up all my magic, and I should just be magicking up all the science. I don't know.
Ooh, I like that. I like that. Well, yeah, and I'm curious. Well, first I have to go back and say that when you talk about the mud, it's like, oh, that's it's such a image that people can really relate to. This idea that we're kind of just covered in this false exterior stuff. So tell me, what is it that when you have a client that you're working with, what is it that really lights you up to see them receive?
I think when I'm able to see, name, sense, or give voice to the piece of them that is just the brightest light, like their spirit, when their spirit lights up, and I'm able to name that, and they feel like I've just named something that's true for them. I don't know I've experienced that from other people. It's like I'm seen and I'm heard, and that is so awesome to witness, and it's so awesome to experience too.
Absolutely. I love that. So how can the Oracle help you today? What is your question for the Oracle today?
Well, I have a lot of amazing ideas, and I have insight and downloads and guidance on big things. And I'm like, great. But then when I want to come put them into reality, into physical manifestation, I get so stuck in detail, thinking like I have to create this and then build that first, and then my problem seems to be, maybe it's like not just stepping forward in trust and just doing it, or maybe I tell myself a story that I need to be better prepared before I can do that big thing. But I tend to do a lot of waiting. I'm not sure what for, but until the thing seems to be like on my tail, the thing I'm supposed to do.
Okay. So in other words, there's a sense of waiting until the infamous last minute. Do you feel like when you're in that last minute, do you push through? Is that your memo, like up to the last minute and then you make it happen? Or is it exhaustion at the other side of that?
Well, there's both, actually. There's a lot of exhaustion, but it was funny today. So I've been working on trying to create some content for programs. I've got these great ideas, but I'm putting it into practice, and the details are slowing me down. But today, one of my coaches said, hey, why don't you just,
post about the program that you're going to run. I was like, okay, do. There it is. It's right there. And suddenly, I didn't plan it yet, but I know what it's going to be. It's there.
Right.
Why can't I do that for bigger things? Like, the bigger calling that I got earlier this year was to not just do retreats, but to help people align themselves with spirit, earth, universe, to help heal the earth and help heal humans. I don't know how to bring that into I don't have to know yet how to bring it into manifestation, but I'd like to take a few steps towards it.
It's interesting. So there's this thing that happens for me where I call it like language policing, like that happens when she's talking to me, where it's like, oh, she said that, like that. And so there's this, okay, fine. She's showing me a two-headed donkey. So there's the one side that says, oh, how do I do this? Oh, I don't have to know all those pieces. So there's like, well, which one are you going to talk to? Yes, we're going to go do this big thing, or I don't have to know all those pieces. So it's like the split of a thought that leaves you stuck in the middle. If you chose to entertain the same experience you had with posting your event today for everything, like if you went on a posting spree and posted all these amazing things you want to do, what one thing would be like, this is the big one? What is that?
It would be two retreats, two that I've been, they're on my to-do list. They're in my heart.
Right.
One for women, one for men and women.
Yeah. So it's there again, which was like, it's on my to-do list. It's in your heart. Okay. So we're back to the donkey. Like we have to pick a side. Either it's on the to-do list and it becomes an action step and it goes forward, or it stays in your heart as something you're holding close to you. So she's saying it's like you have to make a choice to choose to move forward with that idea. And it's almost like what I'm getting is it's the choice, it's the choosing to move forward without all of the steps. That may be the bigger challenge for you.
Yeah.
How does that land?
Yeah. Because I think I'm supposed to have all of the steps laid out to get to the end piece. But I've done things without having that, and that's been actually the way to do it.
Right. And so it's this idea that somehow in these bigger things, it almost feels like because they're so close to your heart, there's this preciousness about holding on to them and keeping them safe, the ideas safe. There's a tenderness around wanting them to be protected from, oh, okay. So the statement came, protected from failure. Like if you don't ever put them out there, no one will know that you chose to do something and didn't complete it. How does that land?
Yeah.
So, so the answer to your kind of original question was it's the concept of choosing now to decide that you're going to just choose the next step and do it, or well, that's the answer to the original question. It's like, or free will says you could keep holding things in your heart, but if you do, you're still living with the double-headed donkey that's trying to be stubborn and pull both ways. So that if in order to kind of move away from that cycle, and do you have assistance now?
Like in my everyday business?
For your work, yeah, for your business.
My work. No, not yet.
Okay. So for some of these bigger things, it seems like that may be the key, to unlocking this is figuring out just what your individual personal next step is, and then the end result. And even if you found someone to assist you in filling in the blanks, like make that their job to go,
Yeah.
I need to go there, and I'm here. I know I need to do this next, but what do I need to do from there to the end result?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. And that's why I was asking, like, maybe that's like an assistant, or like, or that's something to talk to your coach about and say, I want you to give me, these specific steps between, so that you aren't doing them necessarily yourself, but that you're knowing that they are done, that they're going to get done. Like, you don't have to, you can just put your energy on that first thing. And that by the time you get that piece put together, someone else is kind of working alongside you to give you the next and the next and the next. How does that land?
Yeah, that would be so much easier and freeing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would free me up to stay in creative mode. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So it's like either finding, and that could be a lot of things. It could be a coach, could be just someone who's more like a project manager kind of a person, that's a VA that's only part-time, that you're just working on that one project with them, and you're giving them kind of your overall vision and where you're going to start. And then they're required to come back to you with, okay, so now that you've done this, here's the next thing. And maybe there's a lot of that you don't even need to do. Like, there's things they can do for you between there that would help you to do what you really want.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. How does that feel?
Feels good.
Yeah. Is there anything that comes up in resistance to having someone? Is it, if I sense there is something there, is it the person? Is it like finding a person, or is it, what is it? Do you think?
I think it means that I have to get clear on my vision.
Right.
In order to tell someone else. And so it just means bringing it in, maybe sooner than I would like. But there's no point having an assistant if I can't give them the vision to put into action, right?
Sure. Yeah. And that's why I'm saying it may be different than just a standard VA, but a real person that is a project manager, like somebody who that's their skill, like that's their genius. Like, you give them the vision. And so it's about how you ask, what you're looking for. So if you put that out and say, I'm going to attract to me a person who has this experience, especially since you were talking about retreats, like that has done a lot of retreats and knows kind of the layout of that, what that takes. And then you give them the vision. And if, in the sense I get, is if that's the right person, they'll ask the right questions of you so that they get that, that vision correctly. And it's almost like a partnership then of you trusting them to take that vision and really flesh it out for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They ask the questions of me. I like that. That's a good.
Yeah. So it's just something to keep in mind as you're progressing and looking for someone, or you're opening to that piece is going to be important for you, because that's a piece that is not what, your genius is about. So you get to have the piece of it that is your genius, and you get to have the support so that you can keep creating the work that you want to create.
Yeah.
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 Does that feel good? Okay.
Yeah. That applies to many other things, but particularly to this bigger vision. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You're so welcome. Thank you so much. What a great question. And I'm excited to see what you do with your retreats coming up soon. I will be looking for them. All right. Thank you so much. You're so welcome. Thank you for being here. And how can people reach you, Sarah? What's your web address?
It is sensitive-soul-wisdom.com.
Okay, make sure I put this up here. I'm going to put it up here and you tell me. Okay, so is that it, or did I miss something? It's rolling. It's rolling. I know. It's like, so I have sensitivesoulwisdom.com with 2 dashes. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah, that's it. You've got it. Thank you.
All right. Okay.
Yeah,
Wonderful. Yeah. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you. And I love the question. That was an excellent question. Thank you so much. So I love these questions. I love how they're always different. And I love how open you guys are all being in like showing up to really go a little bit deeper so that we can really give you hopefully some really good insight. Because for me, the reason I call it the Oracle on purpose is she's always on my back, literally right here, to make sure that I'm bringing people to their purpose. So if we're not going deep enough, she's going to push me to keep asking questions until we do. So thank you, Sarah, for sticking with me and letting me dive a little deeper. Our next guest, I see some more people coming on and I see some insights. I will promise to get to you. Don't forget, if you have questions, you can put Q&A in your question. So our next guest, our previous next and coming back again guest is Tiffany Thone. So I'm going to go ahead and bring her up here. Hopefully we've got our technical issues done. And let's see, Tiffany, can you hear us?
I can. Yeah.
Yay! All things work in perfect time. Thank you so much for your patience, everyone. Thank you, Tiffany. All right, why don't you tell us a little bit about what is, because I know everybody's like, what? What is an intuitive eating coach? Tell us.
So intuitive eating, it's all about rejecting the diet culture that tells us that we're broken, that tells us that we're, wrong to have an appetite, that our value and our worth is dependent on our size. And instead, what we do is we take the control or the locus of control or the direction around food in our bodies from out here. And we go internally and we start to build trust and connection with our body. We do things like honor our hunger signals. So we actually eat when we're hungry. We try to eat in a way that allows us to be satisfied and notice our fullness, right? So we're not eating beyond fullness. We seek to honor and respect our emotions without using food. So if that is something that you struggle with, there's a principle there for that. And then we really focus on honoring our health and respecting our bodies. So it's not that we ditch health altogether, although we do have permission to eat whatever we want. But typically what we want to eat ends up being things that support us and that feel good to us and that are satisfying and fun, right?
I love it. I love it. And I actually have a tiny bit of experience with this back when I was younger. And so when I heard you say it, I'm so fascinated because I can't even remember, is this a known thing or is this your own process that you've created over time?
So it was developed by a couple of dietitians about 25 years ago. So there's a book, there's science behind it. There are 10 principles.
I did hear it in a book before. Okay.
Yeah, it's been around. And it's starting to really gain momentum because people are realizing, diets don't work. The science is there. But we're also starting to recognize that they're harmful. And so for me, what I've done is I have become certified in intuitive eating, but I blend that with my nursing experience. So I look at people's medical history with my coach training. So really, utilizing their strengths and meeting people where they're at. And then created my own program that supports people in learning how to eat intuitively.
I love it. So yes, I'm not crazy. I do remember something once upon a time, and it was probably 25 years ago. So that probably makes sense. And I remember that though too, thinking isn't it interesting how something comes up and part of you knows some part of that makes sense to me. And I remember that thinking that this is interesting. And I've never been one of those people who's I can't have these things, but I think that came from that. There's that place where we're giving people permission to trust themselves and trust their own inner guidance. And so I really like how you're also, because you're a nurse, that you have, the synergy of those two things, the health and this mindset piece. So tell me how, what I'm just curious, what is one of your, when people see you as a nurse, is there the resistance there for them, or does that make people feel more comfortable to know that you're a nurse as well?
I think that it's helpful because, nurses kind of are known to be trustworthy And because then people recognize that I'm going based on my scientific, training, right? It's not just, and not that I believe very much in intuition as well. I think that's really important and valuable, but that I'm going to be letting them know what the research shows. And I can also speak to the lived experience because I've, worked with people kind of in their worst moments, right? And then I'm going to take care of them in a way that's really ethical. One thing that it's interesting that you asked about the resistance though. So this isn't exactly my question, but I have been finding lately that people are feeling nervous about it. And I've had more reschedules than normal. And I even had one person who was like, will you be my coach? I want to work with you. And now it's been like 3 months she's rescheduled. And I finally had to say, okay, what's happening? Right? Are you having resistance? And so I don't think the nursing piece brings resistance or my training exactly, but I'm realizing that it's scary for people to put their trust in someone yet again around food in their bodies when they've been sold lies by the diet industry. And so that's something that maybe will come up in our conversation.
Right. Well, and it's, that's kind of interesting because, it's funny you say, I don't know why this came up. I do now. After 25 years, I'm like, oh, I see where you were going. Okay. So let me ask you then, if you think about the question you want to ask the Oracle, what would that question be?
Yeah, it's funny because I feel like that the other guests maybe were touching on some of it for me as well. The thing that, so I'm a do all the things kind of person. I get excited about everything. I have a lot of different pieces. I believe that we're all multifaceted and I'm comfortable with that. And I also recognize that can be a challenge in terms of focus. Right now, I'm struggling with some health issues that I've chosen to fight off some chronic infections that I discovered. I have like a mold infection and some other stuff. And so that is really like knocking me down, right? And I have a chronic back injury and now I'm seeing a chiropractor and we're working on actually correcting all of, the curvatures and all of that. And so it's all really intensive work. So I have a limited amount of energy. So, and I've found some balance with it, but right now I'm in this really interesting space of, I have a couple of opportunities coming up and I kind of asked, I checked in internally and asked myself like, which of these things, and I really got the message loud and clear, don't limit yourself. But those things aren't happening yet. Right now I'm enrolling people for my kind of springtime enrollment period into my 6 months package. I've finished coaching, with several people that are, were from the fall time. And so I'm kind of in this really interesting like limbo space where I'm getting ready to start with some new clients and I've started a few of them, but, I'm still finishing with some. And then, but it's kind of like, what do I need to focus on right now? And what, I guess the best use of my energy right now, that's what I'm really struggling with.
So again, she's having a cheeky moment. She's like, well, you need to focus on you. And there is a reason that those things paused and, to give you space to do this. The limbo, when you use the word limbo, I got a really hard hit. There's a sense of guilt around the limbo. That seems to be coming up. How does that land for you?
Yeah, I mean, so I left my part-time job at the hospital in November and I had some goals, that I was going to hit right by April and, didn't hit them. I'm doing fine, but not where I would like to be. I really wanted to replace all of my nursing income plus. And, when I tell people that, they're like, it takes like a year or two. And I had started my business previous to this. So that's kind of how I rationalized it. I've already been in business. I've already got clients. It's just now that I won't be working at the hospital, I'll be able to devote so much more time and energy to my business. And, that's just not exactly how life always works. And so, and all of the things I'm doing, pretty much all of the things I'm doing are longer term, right? Like I'm recording a podcast, but we haven't launched it yet. And then I'm, working on these partnerships, but those haven't, materialized, right? And so it feels like limbo, and yeah, I feel guilt. My family is fine, but there's kind of, I bring in a certain amount, and so there's like a monetary piece of it, but then also like I kind of have a residual issue sometimes with achievement energy, and I've worked really hard on that. But I know it sometimes like pops its head up, right? Like, oh, you haven't achieved, what you said.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because, I just wanted to pop in because there's this, like, she's just neon thing, being like, okay, waiting for a moment. Okay. So I want to share a story because one of the clients I work with, and I think this is pertaining why she's showing it to me. I had to tell a client, you cannot work. We're switching from, and she did something similar. She went from the corporate world where she was pushing and performing and doing. And I said, here's the thing. We're going to have an exit plan. And here's the first step. You cannot work for 2 weeks. You cannot. You have to stop and give your body time. You have to give it space. You have to listen to what it needs so that we can recalibrate you. And I think what she's saying is this is a recalibration period for you. And that's why she's showing me that picture. It's like there are things, as you just mentioned, which are coming out of that, right? There's things coming to the surface, that performance piece that maybe is still asking to be addressed. Because as you continue to build these things, first of all, because there's not a formed picture yet of the things you're working on, there's not something tactile that you can hold on to, doesn't mean things aren't being worked on.
Yeah, that's helpful.
So, it's, I have a saying I use in my groups with my clients, my client groups, and I would say seed, soil, plant. You're in the soil right now. You've planted the seeds. You're in the soil place. And there will be a plant because you planted the seeds and you're tending to the soil. And that's just how it goes. That is just the nature of things. And when we're in soil, we can get really grumpy.
Totally grumpy.
So if you're feeling grumpy, the other thing I've had a client do, I had a client go buy an avocado plant, avocado and plant it. And that was her job, was whenever she felt like that, she had to go tend to her plant. And talk to her plant, and she had to go give it love, and she had to go say, oh yeah, that's right. And then I said, the cool thing about avocados, when they get big, it's a tree. It's amazing, but it takes time, and it just kind of reframes your brain to say, oh yes. And so I'm sharing that with you from a coaching perspective. If you're finding yourself getting grumpy, maybe just take a breath and say, seed, soil, plant. This is what's happening now. Right? This is what is now for you. And the nice thing of that is that you're going to find that, as she's just kind of keeps coming back to, this is about looking at you so that you can do more on this next level. Like you're prepping and filling and moving and shifting things that are going to make you better when these things start to launch. So rest and enjoy the fallow. We don't have to call it anything but that. It's the soil time. Enjoy your soil time and nurture yourself during that soil time. I love that I know like that in the process of like feeding yourself and nurturing yourself, you have to pay attention. Yeah. I think that's what she's just saying. It's like, yeah, this is for you. This is what this time is. And those things that you like started by saying, oh, and there's people that are not coming. Why are they not coming? And isn't it interesting that the first thing you choose is to look at what you did wrong?
Yeah. Well, it's really interesting when I had a week where 4 people canceled or rescheduled, and that never happens. And my back injury I had a huge flare up. I could barely walk. And I was frustrated, right? Because I was like, I need to do these sessions. And then, and so it really was like, I needed that. So then I was able to have some peace around it. Like this, I wouldn't have been able to show up fully during those sessions anyway, so it was like better. But I was like, what is going on? And so the recalibration and I like the seed soil. I'm definitely in the soil right now. And it's so uncomfortable for me. I like to have a direction, right?
Yeah. And so it's nice, you know, again, that was like a tactile thing. You're like, well, see, I can't, my back hurts. It's like, yeah, but you know what? Your energy needs to be rebuilt. It needs to be retooled. It needs to be refocused. It is creating right now. And that's just as valuable and important.
Awesome.
Okay. You're so welcome. Thank you for the beautiful question. Oh my gosh. Okay. So what, Miss Tiffany, is your website? So we can pop that up here for everybody.
Yeah, it's CoachTiffanyRN.com.
Awesome. Thank you. Nice and easy. and your name's right in front of me, so I don't mess it up. Okay, so if anybody wants to know more about what an intuitive eating coach does and what she's up to next, definitely check her out. Thank you again, Tiffany, for being on the show. Thank you for your sharing your questions. I love it. I saw a few insights, and I know I promised you guys we'd be giving something away. So I want to grab an insight, and then I want to Isara. Okay, Isara says, in terms of attracting clients, is there an ancestor? Oh, it's a question. Yay. Is there an ancestor or past life or family pattern? Ooh, okay. That is dominant that I can clear, or am I just not seeing or taking the right enough action? Okay. Sorry, I was preparing for an insight and then I got a question. So in terms of attracting clients, is there an ancestor or past life or pattern? It's interesting, Asara. I'm getting this hit that it's not necessarily familial. Could it be ancestral? I don't sense that. I think that it is. So the word that I'm getting is it's grace. So I know that you may or may not still be on the call, but the word that I hope you come back and watch the replay. So the word that I'm getting and what I'm seeing is grace for, oh, okay. So I take that back. So there's grace, and what it is about is a form of anger and resentment about where you are. So there's this point of being, whether you had one of those, and I've had them, so this is what I'm calling it. You know, I like to call them, you know, I had a talk with God and I told him about himself kind of moments where you're like, you know, and so there's that energy is the block. So whether or not that's even ancestral doesn't even matter. There's an energy there that is kind of, you know, and this is just my verbiage, so I'm just sharing it the way it's coming across, is like this anger towards God, like, why did you do this to me, kind of energy anger that is blocking. And to the answer or the solve to that is grace. And there's a sense that the grace comes from like trusting that whatever that needs to, whatever, oh, okay. So whatever you need to, I don't want to say let go of, but whatever you need to understand happened for a reason. And there may be a piece of that you're still struggling with understanding that it happened for a reason. That's the grace. Once you get to the place where you have that understanding and you've reached that understanding for yourself, then that will like kind of soothe it. It's almost like it will wash it away. So I'm hoping that lands for you. So there's the anger, resentment piece that is kind of looking for relief through grace. And the grace comes around accepting something that you couldn't and or can't change now. And yeah, so if that helps, I hope it does. And I know we're like at time, so I don't want to go too much further than that, but Isara, reach out in the comments, and I'd be happy to kind of go deeper if that doesn't help you, or if we need a little bit more conversation around that. So thank you for that question. But since I also promised everybody and I saw some other people do insights, I want to go ahead and pull that too, and then we'll close for the night. So thank you all for hanging in there. Thank you for staying a few minutes late. Sarah, thank you for the amazing question. I really feel like we should reach out. So just, don't worry about staying here, but definitely I will connect with you. And if we need to kind of go a little bit further with that, we can. Awesome. Thank you for your question and thanks for showing up. All right. So now we're going to undo that. We're going to scroll. Drum roll, please. And we're going to look for the closest insight to, Maureen. Maureen's insight. Okay. So this is the closest insight. Oh, nice. Okay. So Maureen, you are the winner. Voila. You will get... So my assistant actually will contact you tomorrow because she's not here, but she will contact you and look for your address so we can actually physically send you something. So her insight, though, is allow space and compassion for yourself as you recalibrate for a new venture. Allow a new foundation for your new life and business. Yeah, I think that's a really sweet note to end on. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for all of my guests, Amy, Cheryl, Sarah Thorpe, Tiffany Thone. Please, follow them, keep an eye on them. They're amazing women doing wonderful things and the world is better for it. Thank you all for being here. Remember, I am Leah Dunlap, the Oracle on Purpose, and this is Oracle Live TV. If you want to be a guest on the show, you can do that by going to oraclelivetv.com. Bye now.